Hey everybody, note the disclaimer, and remember that anyone who supported me on Patreon got to see preview images, work in progress shots, and high resolution images of the completed figure. If you want to join them, the link is still in the description below. Hello out there! This is a special figure made in honor of Speed Up Jesse, also known as Medicom Collector, for his 100 Mario Challenge. Yes, Speed Up Jesse. Back when he was known as Medicom Collector here on YouTube, he and I had a couple of crossovers. You may remember a couple of April Fool's Days ago when we switched channels and he put up his video of making a Mario figure into Sonic, and I put up a video of making Sonic into Mario, and we swapped them around. Those are some good times. Well, since then he's also made a few other Mario customs, including these cool Yoshi and Tails figures. So in honor of his desire to have 100 custom Mario figures, I thought I'd help him out by making one. And this will be Eggmario, which was in the title card before this picture. Alright, so this is my first time working with the Mario figure myself. It's actually the first time I ever actually bought one. So he dismantles fairly innocuously enough. The only problem is that the shoulders don't come out because of the way the torso is built. But that's fine, since Eggman has red sleeves. I don't really have to repaint the arms that much anyway. So I debated with myself whether I should sculpt over Mario's iconic stash, but in the end I decided that Eggman's mustache is so iconic to the way that character looks that, you know, it just wouldn't pass painting Mario's mustache. It has to be an Eggman mustache. So I sculpted on a new mustache over Mario's, which is actually not as easy as you might think. This new epoxy sculpt I'm using is white epoxy sculpt, and the irony is that this white epoxy sculpt stains. You gotta be really careful not to get the residue from the sculpt on anything that you don't want to paint, otherwise you're gonna have white streaks all over the place. I think when this runs out, I'll go back to getting the default color, because you know, like, white may theoretically be an easier base to paint on, but if it's gonna get all over the place, then that's actually more of a cleanup hassle. I actually got some of this stuff on my ankle, and after 3 showers in 5 days, it still leaves some marks there. I gotta wait for my skin to recycle itself before it gets rid of it. Now, aside from the big bushy mustache, I also had to do the rhinophymic nose. Yeah, I actually looked this up. Rhinophyma. It's a skin condition that makes the nose large, pink, and bulbous. It's related to rosacea. Yes, I actually did look it up on Google just to make sure that I had my terminology right. So Mario already has a nice big nose, but it's not rhinophymic because it's still regular skin tone. But with a little bit of fuchsia paint, there we go. So that is the Mario face, is Eggman. I added little shades by taking a hole puncher to some blue craft foam, and I changed the M logo on his hat into a little Eggman Empire logo. I would have done an E, but I thought, why not go the extra mile and go full-on logo, because we know how much Eggman loves his logo. The figure's legs didn't need too much sculpting, just those things on the ankles and the stitching / lacing zipper thing that goes up the front. Right up to where the knee joint goes, that seemed like a convenient enough cutaway point. And a very simple repaint job. Actually, the one thing that's good about the white epoxy is that I didn't have to worry about painting in the laces because they're already nice and white. My paint would only make it look worse. So the lion's share of the sculpting went into the torso. I had to cut away the little overall buttons that Mario has and sculpt everything over smooth. You got like the little coattails on both the front and back, as well as the straps and pouches and other decorative elements. Everything except the cuffs of the sleeves. I made those out of craft foam because I figured that would make them look a little cleaner. Now this is where I regret that Eggman's uniform is mostly red, because, you know, red never really looks good when painted. I mean, it looks fine to the naked eye, don't get me wrong. It's just that to the camera flash, you could see the streaks and you can see a little bit of the blue underneath, but that's really something you would only see with really, really bright lights, like a camera flash. And as far as I'm aware, Speed Up Jesse doesn't have a studio lighting setup, so he should be fine. Alright, so zooming in really close to the hat, I pointed it out with an arrow here so that you could see what I'm talking about. I used my drill to make a really tiny little dimple in the sides of the hat. This is so that I could attach the goggles, because Dr. Eggman has a big old pair of goggles. They come off of a Charmy the Bee helmet, and if you look inside, you see I put little tiny toothpicks on the inner corners so that they can act as pegs to go into the holes. This is so that the goggles can be a movable and removable accessory to however Speed Up Jesse decides he wants to put them up. So let's take a look at the completed Mario figure so we can see how these goggles work. And here he is, the Eggmario figure. If you look really closely, you can see the two little divots in the sides of his hat, which is the only scar left over if you decide not to display him with the goggles at all. But when you stick them on there, then you create the full-on effect. I mean, Eggman always straps these things up on top of his head, so I figured Mario sticking them on top of his hat would be kind of a funny thing. Does this count as a hat on a hat situation? Not sure. But because they're not actually held on with any kind of adhesive or anything, you can easily just take them off the hat and stick them onto his face. Because yes, Dr. Eggman does occasionally take those goggles off and put them down over his eyes. It's something that he's done in the games quite a few times. So yeah, that's a perfectly valid display option. And of course I gotta bring out my old Mario Sonic figure just to remind everybody that it's a thing that I did. And remind you of a previous crossover I had with Jesse. So that was Eggmario. I hope you like it, and I hope, Jesse, that you accomplish your goal of having 100 Mario-based customs. Everybody go check out his channel. I'll link it below. He has some crazy Mario crossover figures if you want to check them out. And this is Wake 2001 signing off.